mate. How you going?
Hey, hello, I'm sorry, I'm a bit late. My Zoom decided to update.
Isn't that always the way? Whenever you got a meeting, Zoom always like, this would be the perfect time for me to take 10 minutes to upload everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Perfect time.
always perfect. So always perfect. But you're here now. That's the important part. Thank you so much, mate. It's a pleasure to have you on the channel today. How are you today?
Thank you so much as well for taking the time for us. And I can imagine the meeting was originally scheduled with Ludo, so you might be
Yes.
surprised at me. So I hope, and in case you forgot my name, because I can imagine you have so many people you interview, Martin is my name.
No, hi, Martin. I'm Jai. No, but I recognize as soon as it came up, I was like, oh, it's Martin instead of Ludo. I was like, I just knew as soon as I didn't see all the hair, like Ludo's got to have the most hair in all of metal, man. That guy should be doing shampoo
Yes, but he
commercials.
has too much. I have too little.
I'm the same. That's why I've got the hat on.
You are a wise man, then. I'm not.
Well, mate, it's exciting to have you here, and it's exciting. This Friday, the new EP is out. How are you feeling about it? It's like it's been all this time kind of slowly promoting it, and now it's finally here, and people kind of get to hear everything. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. You know, it's always when you work on a project and for a long time, and then it's finally there to, yeah, to introduce it to the outside world. That's always an exciting moment.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones too, because it's not your standard kind of EP. It's not a live album. It's a little bit of everything. You got some new songs, you got some reimagining of some songs, you got live songs, you got instrumentals. What made you want to kind of do this lack of a better term, goodie bag of kind of an EP?
That's a nice description, actually. Well, actually, because fans got a lot of questions and requests from fans, and you know, since we can do what we do thanks to them,
Mm,
I thought let's oblige them and let's see what we can put on this EP. Because you know, nowadays the word EP is kind of an old-fashioned thing,
mm.
but to me, it's simply you know, we're releasing singles, and we have so much material that fans wanted to hear that we thought like, why not put it together and then offer it to our fan base and to the outside world and hope they like it. And we had so much material, so that's how this came to be.
And it got me thinking as well, because yeah, you're right. Using the word EP is such an outdated. Anyone under 30 would be like, "What's the difference between an EP and an LP?" And I sit there going, "Oh God, I'm starting to feel old." Like,
Exactly.
I know what you mean. But with the new songs on this one as well, was why release them now instead of building it up to a new album? What made you want to get these out now? Was it to tour with something a bit new, or was it just like we've written something really cool and we want to show it?
Yeah, it's a combination of factors. One, simply cannot wait to already give people some new material.
Yep.
Two, indeed to help your shows, you know, to give people something new to look forward to. And three, that nowadays, you know, it's normal that you simply release singles. You know, in our niche, in the metal niche, we are blessed with still a very traditional way of thinking with albums, which I
Mm.
like. I
Yeah.
like the experience of an album idea, but but you know, it's also time to simply put out music when you have it.
Yeah.
And so I would almost call this a very deluxe version of releasing singles.
Yeah.
And it also is kind of a connection between our previous album and our new album. So it's really a combination of factors where I think it's a really nice thing to offer.
I like that you mentioned that it's almost like a deluxe edition of releasing a single, because I remember back in the early 2000s when you'd go to a record store, you'd go and you'd see it'd be a single on the shelf. So, like, I don't know, I'm thinking of one off the top of my head, Stone Sour Through Glass. And then it'd have four songs of songs that never got released on the album. They were just B-sides or live versions. And I really miss that, because that doesn't happen anymore in the digital age. You just
No,
don't get these hidden tracks unless it's for the Japanese edition of an album. That feels like it's
yes,
the only time a band ever does that. And it's kind of it's kind of cool. And if you're a record hunter, to track down the Japanese version of an album is kind of exciting because you finally get it. It takes forever to get to you. So it's cool to do that. And I appreciate that metal can still do that. I think it's the only genre of music that really can connect the old style of promoting music with the new style of
Yes.
promoting music and still work at the same time. Why do you think that is?
Because in the metal niche, people are simply music lovers. They
Mm,
love music. It's more than just consuming some music. People, it's a lifestyle. And with that lifestyle comes the total experience of wanting to have like a physical product, like a vinyl, an
yeah,
LP or a CD. Or now we even are going to release a cassette again,
yeah,
which
wow.
I haven't done. The last cassette I have here, this is my old Within Temptation demo cassette. I
Oh,
most definitely
wow.
have it there. So this is like 25 years old. But after that, we never worked with cassettes, and this is
No.
the first time again. So it shows that people in the metal scene, they're yes, it's a lifestyle.
It really is because metal is definitely a lifestyle because it's a look, it's the way you dress. Like you look at someone you see down the street, you're like, you know that guy likes metal. Like there are people
Yes,
that like metal that don't look like it, but I don't know. I've got a bit of a look. I've got the big beard, I've got the hair coming
you
out.
do.
I've got the
Yes.
scary things and the tattoos. It's like he likes metal, but at the same time, I'm a shy guy. I love this loud screaming music, but if people talk too loud at me, I'm like, please calm down a little bit. It's interesting how we work that way.
Yes, and you also see it connects to other kind of things too. For example, I see your Darth Maul like mask in the back, and it's kind of this subculture thing.
Mm,
And if people like this, they often, not always, but often like that as well.
yep.
It's just yeah, it's the lifestyle indeed.
Yeah, and it's a fun lifestyle to be a part of. But getting back to the EP and the new song Dance with the Devil, the growling section took me by surprise. The way that song was going, it's such an uplifting kind of almost poppy track, almost makes you want to dance and move. And then you come in with that almost like a breakdown with the growls. Tell me how that came together because it took me by surprise. Like it really did.
Excellent. Then our scheme worked.
Good.
No, I love contrast in music,
Yep.
and I think it's really cool to really suddenly change the vibe,
Yep.
as long as it still fits. Somehow there needs to be a connection. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. And some people love it, other people hate it,
Mm.
and I'd rather have it like that than to have it vanilla. And that yeah, it's okay. So yeah, I thought this song when I wrote the song, it needs an energy boost. It
Yeah.
needs something special, something extra. And yeah, we never have been afraid of growls,
Mm.
even though in general Delain can be described as very poppy in the metal scene. And it can be very cheesy. So for some people, it's too cheesy. Um, and but yeah, that's what I like. Can't help it. So I like contrast. So this is a very good example where I thought, okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you did because, like I said, it did take me by surprise. I'm like, it's one of those ones that I can put on to my non-metal friends when it's around. They just think it is a bit more of a, oh, this is a bit upbeat, and then that comes in out of nowhere, and it's like, what was that? You like the song to make people turn their head when they're not quite paying attention to it, and then they're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
what's going on there? Because well, you did well. You did exactly what you planned out for. So well done, well
Thank
done.
you
I
so much.
appreciate that.
I love the description. Thank you.
No, you're more than welcome. Now, you've done some like Sleepwalker's Dream. What made you actually want to go back and kind of revisit some of the older stuff as well? Because it's a lot of bands always talk about, oh, maybe one day we'll record some of the old stuff because with lineup changes and we've grown so much as people, and I'd love to rearrange it. But not often does it happen. It's almost like it's scary to kind of touch something that already exists and make it new. So, what gave you guys that confidence going, right, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to show the people?
Because well, our singer Diana did a sing through of like older songs of our catalog, and people really liked it very much. And but it was only like a fragment,
Mm,
and people asked for why not do the whole thing again. And I thought, yeah, actually we never really did that. So let's give that a try with this song, see how it works. You also, yeah, when we played it live, people respond always really well to it. And so I thought, Gianna sings it so beautifully. So why not do it again? And yeah, it's you have to be respectful with with the past and
Mm.
with what you did. You have to be careful indeed with that. But I think if you keep the essence there, and yeah, it's a nice twist to hear it in how the band is now, and yeah, you can enjoy the old version with Charlotte, our previous singer. You can enjoy the new version with Diana, and yeah, I think it's just a nice um, extra to offer, and the people asked for it, so we
Yeah.
they ask and we serve.
It's one of those nice things. It's like reminiscing about the past while still showing where you are at this point of time in your career. It's like a
Exactly.
reflection looking back on yourself. So I think it is truly something special. I always love it when bands do it, and you're no exception. So I was very pleased to hear it. It was awesome. I really, really
Thank
enjoyed it. No, it was cool. And the live stuff on this as well, because I've managed to hear the EP. The live stuff just sounds amazing. Like if you've never heard DELAIN live before,
thank
oh,
you.
wow, wow. No wonder you just decided to truck a bunch of live tracks on there because, wow, do you guys? I don't even feel you need to get to the studio at this point. You could probably just live track your next album and it's just going to sound like a million
Yes.
bucks.
Yeah. No, nothing. Sometimes things are replayed or something. Nothing is replayed here, and it's simply also thanks to technology nowadays. It's
Mm.
so easy to record it, and we play those songs so often that we can dream them. So it's for us very easy to play. And sometimes you're accused of oh, this is being recorded later, and that's a huge compliment actually because that's okay. Okay, yes, it's we played well enough then, and yeah, it's very easy. We also like to catch the vibe of those shows. They were coincidentally those were two very special shows. We record every show actually,
Yeah.
and so we had a show in Poland and one in Switzerland, and we chose those to use the recordings of to mix them and put them on the album.
And how amazing is that too? You mentioned the technology that you can literally record every show you've ever done. If you want to re-record old songs, you don't have to go hire out a studio for 2 weeks. Like, look at the setup behind you. You can literally sit there
Yes.
at home and set up everything. How, and you've been doing this for a while now. How much easier has that made life for you over time? And how much did you actually have to learn to be able to, you know, record everything yourself and do everything, well, essentially where you're sitting now?
Yeah, it's so easy nowadays. Technology has changed so much. I started when I was 17 and I think it was 1996. Actually, even before that, I sneaked to my brother's computer. He's also a musician.
Yeah.
He writes for Within Temptation, and so he kind of taught me and introduced me into this world. Um, and there we played around with MIDI and real audio tapes.
Yeah.
And now everything sounds so good, and technology makes it so easy that you don't have to go to a studio anymore to record some things. And for drums, you often do it still.
Yeah.
And some musicians also kind of long for that way of working. If you, for example, look at Opeth or like the
Yeah.
analog era, but so much has changed and things are so easy now to do, and also live indeed. Our sound engineer has a mixing desk, and thanks to him, we have this material. He simply records it, and the quality is so good. So it's very easy.
And with the advance in technology now, because you're a man who's hands on with it all, what's your opinion of? I've seen it, and I'll wait to hear your opinion of people doing like these covers using AI or using AI in mixing. What's your personal opinion on that? Because it's interesting the
Oh,
more it
yeah.
kind of seeps in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, there are two ways of looking at it. The traditional way is like, which is in human behavior, like in the past, everything was better. Like in the past, like everything was pure and real. And I'm kind of a traditional guy in a lot of ways. But at the other hand, you shouldn't. Also should not see new developments all the time as threats. You can also see it as opportunities. I would never use AI to generate a song,
No.
for example, because that's simply not writing anymore. But you can use AI in certain tools to make your writing process faster. For example, I have a tool that simply I have to type in. Now, let me say it differently. I first play a vocal line with piano,
Yep.
and I load it into this tool, and then I can type in words in those notes, and then I can
Yeah.
select voice, and then it sings the melody line like it's a real singer, and the result is insane. And of course, in the end, you want a real singer to
Yeah.
sing, but it's a very nice way to present it to a singer like, okay, this is what I have in my head. Here you go. Play around with it, make it your own. I
Yeah.
always love that people work from the heart, but it's good to give them already a palette,
Yeah.
work with. And then AI is really handy.
Yeah.
So there are multiple ways of looking at it. Yeah, use the good parts of it, but curse the bad parts, like where it's
Yeah.
like generate and there is, music is emotion and it has to come from the heart. And with AI, it doesn't come from the heart, and it's simply a parameter saying, okay, this is what people in general like, and average, and it's calculated, and yeah, I don't think AI will get better and better and better at that because it learns itself, of
Yeah.
course. But in the end, people want to be connected to people,
Yeah. And I
and I
think
don't think AI can change that.
and I think that's the thing where people who get really terrified of it, it is new, it is a bit scary, but you're right. At the end of the day, people can tell when something's not real. No matter how good it looks, you can tell there's something
Yeah,
about it where it's just like, that's not authentic. That is just replicating what it thinks it should be. It's not something new. It's something it's found in its learning system to try and create what it thinks it should be. It's not. And like you said, you can present, I reckon that idea of the harmony is great, especially if you've got a female lead vocalist and you want to be like, oh, here's how I kind of imagine the melody. That's a brilliant tool. I actually think that's brilliant. It makes life easier for everyone. It's at the end of the day, you've got to use it like you would with paint. You've got a canvas, you can use painting tools, but at the end of the day, don't have it paint the picture. It's the tool, just don't have it create the picture at the end of the day. I think you kind of spot
yeah,
on with that. Yeah.
that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. And getting to it as well. And like you've been going around for a while, and I'm hoping you guys can make it down to Australia one day because I got to see you at Wacken a couple of years ago. That was awesome. Very
Love it.
excited. Yeah, it was awesome. So fingers crossed. Come down here one day. Never know. Never know. What got you started? What got you inspired to make this kind of music? Because down here in Australia, only in the last couple of years has your style really kind of started to resonate down here. And bands like I think we've been Temptation are coming doing their first show next March, for example.
Yeah,
Beyond
they're
the
coming
Black
back,
came
right?
down here,
Yeah.
yeah, and all that. Like there's a lot that's starting to come down here, which is great to see because then I don't have to get on a 27-hour flight to go over to Europe to see it. So it's in my backyard. But what kind of got you into it? Because it is a very interesting genre that really hasn't been around for the longest time either. So
Um, yeah, well, somehow in the Netherlands, where I'm from, um, there are really like started already very early, like in the 90s. I remember my brother listening to Paradise Lost, for example,
mm,
or like from the UK, who had guitars and female vocals, operatic vocals in it. Ooh, that was really new back then.
yeah,
And I remember my brother telling me like, "Hey, we got keys in the band. That makes us special because no band has that."
yeah,
And and um, and that's kind of where it started for me. And I always have been very, I never ever get enough of this really metal heavy guitar combination with melody, with other instruments, also orchestral sounds. I love it.
mm,
And um, yeah, it always inspired me because it has so many facets to it, so many elements in it.
yeah,
And so you can go whatever direction you want. And but I love the heaviness because I love contrast in music, as I said before, and that really always keeps inspiring me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, very good answer, and it's good to hear. And I like the contrast too. I think, don't get me wrong, I like some really light stuff. I like some really heavy stuff, but I kind of like it when there is a bit of a mix because it's almost like going on a roller coaster. Sometimes you're going up, and then
Yeah.
you dip down, then you come back up, and you dip down. You might go backwards at one point. You never know. It's just it keeps things. I know it's just exciting at the end of the day, isn't it? Really, when you
Yes.
listen to stuff like
Yeah.
that, yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like
And of course, it's also all about taste.
mm,
If you listen to well, to Amon Mart, for
yeah,
example, you might like a lot of other stuff, but I can also imagine people and friends of mine too who think my music is really cheesy, and that's very that's fine because everybody has their own taste, and sometimes our music can be cheesy, but I happen to like it. Because I'm born in, well, end of the 70s, but I grew up in the 80s and the
yeah,
90s, and those elements are in my music because
yeah,
it shaped me. It's part of me, like this shirt, like Back to the Future. That's as 80s as can get.
yeah.
And yeah, it was also kind of a cheesy decade in a way. So I really like that. Yeah.
I like looking back at the 80s and people always go, oh, go back to when, men look like this and it's all the perm mullets and the big mustaches. I'm like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Every generation has a look that they really thought was cool at that point of time, but it
Yes.
never ages well. Never ages well. I mean, parachute pants in the 90s. I mean, come on. Like,
No shame.
yeah. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. I've actually had a blast talking to you. You're a great bloke. Is there anything you want to say, especially to the Aussie fans out there who would be watching this, before I let you go today?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I really, really hope we can make it to Australia one time because, it costs so much money, costs to get to Australia for us, to get all our people there,
Mm.
equipment there. But we really, really would love to play in Australia. So if we ever get the chance to do that, if we get invited, it would be amazing, and we would love to come.
Well, fingers crossed that's sooner rather than later. And congratulations once again. Dance with the Devil is out this Friday, November 8th. Mate, it's been a pleasure. You have an excellent day.
Thank you, and you have an excellent night.
I will. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Ta.